From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Marion County is mourning the death of Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham, who died yesterday in a small plane crash. This is a WUFT News Update. I'm Taylor Levesque. Graham was the only person on board and died at the scene, a field not far from the small airport in Dunellen. WUFT's Landry Ballatin joins us from the newsroom with more community reaction.
Taylor, visiting the Ocala Police Department today, you could sense how big of an impact Chief Graham made on the city. Everyone expressed the shock they're feeling at the sudden loss.
Husband and father, friend, mentor. These are all words colleagues and community members used to describe Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham. Graham died Sunday in a small plane crash. Friends say flying had become a passion of his in recent years. He spent over 35 years in law enforcement, almost all of it in Ocala, and had been chief since 2012. Lieutenant Michael Summer worked alongside Graham for 27 years. He says it just wasn't the same walking into work today.
I miss him walking by, and he would always ask you, what can I do to make your day better? And I didn't get that this morning, so it was, it's a little sad.
Summer says Graham wasn't your typical boss.
He was truly a leader. He was a guy that you wanted to follow. He inspired you to follow. He pushed you. He made you feel like you were part of the solution.
I'm at Ocala Police Department where, as you can see behind me, Chief Graham's car is parked in front with flowers on top in his remembrance. His 2-year contract as chief was renewed by Ocala City Council just last Tuesday.
Graham won't only be missed by family and colleagues, but the entire Marion County community.
We've already seen a lot of our community coming out and just giving their condolences, offering their help, any assistance they can, and it's very touching. I tell you, it's very moving to know that you can see what an impact this man had on his community.
The FAA and NTSB will try to find the cause of the crash. The sheriff's office is also investigating.
He loved Ocala, and Ocala loved him back.
Graham is survived by his wife and 3 children, and funeral arrangements have yet to be announced. Deputy Chief Mike Balkin has been named the interim chief at OPD. Reporting live from the newsroom, Landry Ballatin, WUFT News.
Thanks, Landry. The U.S. Senate is just hours away from a final vote on the confirmation of Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett. She could be sworn in later tonight at the White House. We get more from NBC's Susan McGinnis.
Will clerk call the roll?
The debate on the Senate floor was long and fiery, but throughout the day there was no doubt Judge Amy Coney Barrett was headed for confirmation to the Supreme Court in a nearly party-line vote. Republicans rushing the confirmation to seat Barrett ahead of a critical challenge to Obamacare. She could help cement a conservative majority on the court for years to come and play a key role in rulings ranging from abortion and gun laws to LGBTQ rights.
Judge Amy Coney Barrett is an exceptionally well-qualified and talented legal mind and jurist. She's bright, she's articulate, she's, as we've seen, unflappable.
Only one Republican, Susan Collins of Maine, announced a vote against Barrett, and not one Democrat expressed support for the nomination, instead venting anger about the fast-track process.
They may have the votes to push this nomination through today, but they don't have the American people and they don't have history on their side.
President Trump in Pennsylvania today hoping his nominee will boost his campaign.
How do you like Amy, by the way? Isn't Amy great? I nominated Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court of the United States. And tonight she will be confirmed by the Senate.
Amy Coney Barrett poised to take her place on the Supreme Court and in history. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
More than 6 million Floridians have already voted, a rapid pace considering there were 9.5 million total ballots 4 years ago. Turnout will likely top the normal 75% and could approach Florida's modern record of 83% set in 1992. President Trump voted in West Palm Beach this weekend before taking off for rallies in North Carolina, Ohio, Wisconsin, and New Hampshire. Today he's in Pennsylvania. Joe Biden held drive-in events in Pennsylvania on Saturday. Biden will return to Florida on Thursday for events in Broward County and Tampa. COVID-19 numbers are rising in rural America, with new cases per capita spiking in places like North and South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reports on the virus spreading across the Midwest and Mountain West.
This morning, the COVID crisis, after shattering its single-day record of new infections, is now in its third wave nationally, and it's ravaging many smaller communities for the first time.
I think there's an increasingly high level of fatigue, Gabe, especially in the rural parts of the country, because we were told back in May and June how bad it was going to be, and it never came. Well, now it's here.
In South Dakota, the mayor of Sioux Falls is pleading with residents to wear masks, but the governor says it should be a choice, tweeting if folks want to wear a mask, they are free to do so. Those who don't want to wear a mask shouldn't be shamed into it. Still, COVID cases in 43 states and D.C. are up at least 10% in the last 2 weeks, including record numbers in Illinois, which has topped 9,500 deaths.
Excuse me, please.
It weighs heavily on the state's health director.
These are mothers and fathers and grandparents, co-workers. It's overwhelming.
More heartbreak at the University of Dayton in Ohio, where freshman Michael Lang died of complications from COVID-19.
Our kid is in a better place, and, he'll be looking down on us, so. But he's 18. He's way too young. Way too young.
Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News.
A local domestic violence shelter is seeing an increase in calls during the COVID-19 pandemic. There has been a 10% increase in calls to their hotline. Peaceful Paths recently added 2 text hotlines to accommodate this influx. Experts say major crises often contribute to an uptick in calls.
Because of our experience with hurricanes is that when people are in a situation where they can't get away, they can't create space, or they don't have the opportunity to have privacy, it can exacerbate an already bad situation.
The National Domestic Violence Hotline has also experienced a 9% increase in calls during the pandemic. Hurricane Zeta is making its way through the Western Caribbean right now. Ashley Weinstein joins us live from the UF Weather Center with updates on the storm.
Yes, Hurricane Zeta is now a Category 1. We'll get into that in a second. I'm weather forecaster Ashley Weinstein. Hurricane Zeta is approaching landfall at the Yucatan and is expected to make landfall in the U.S. mid this week into Louisiana and Mississippi, and later this week move back out into the Atlantic. Here in Gainesville, the weather is pretty calm. We see a few passing clouds. Temperatures high, 85 degrees for late October. This evening, we have some isolated showers, partly cloudy, patchy fog overnight to wake up to. And through the overnight, temperatures staying relatively warm at 71 degrees here in Alachua, as well as Marion County. Now for Tuesday, we can see the temperatures are still quite warm at 87 degrees in Gainesville and feeling even warmer, 99 in Gainesville, 101 in Ocala, and 102 down in the Villages. Now we also see tomorrow we have some isolated showers from the I-95 corridor moving westward, which brings us to our 6-day outlook where temperatures are staying relatively warm this week, dipping down into the high 70s due to a passing cold front expected around Thursday to Friday. Back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Disney's Animal Kingdom welcomed a huge baby boy today. Okay. This baby was born weighing 150 pounds. He's a white rhino, the world's second largest land animal and an endangered species. This one is the 11th white rhino born at Disney. Pregnancies take 16 to 18 months, and 2 other females are expected to give birth next year. That's our time for now, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. I'm Taylor Levesque. Have a good night.